Ladies and gentlemen of the Navigate English Department, today we will embark on a journey of reflection upon the four main characters in the Odyssey being Zeus, Poseidon, Athena and Odysseus. Starting off with Zeus, nicknamed Darius, the newborn of Father Cronus and Mother Rhea, was to be intentionally swallowed similar to his brothers and sisters if Rhea had not tricked Father Cronus into swallowing a rock to simulate the baby Zeus. Zeus later on in life revolted against Cronus and the other Titans, sending them to the underworld where they met along with Hades and Tartarus, guardians of the Inferno. After battling Zeus and the other Titans, Zeus and his brothers shared the prizes. Zeus received the sky and air, Poseidon the land and air, the land and sea, Hades the underworld. Zeus's interaction with humans and those of his own kind. Zeus is more of a passive god and doesn't interact much with humans. Rather, he governs the land of the gods, Olympus, and is king of the gods. Zeus orders the other gods to interact with humans and refer back to him while he contemplates the Greeks from the safety of his own kingdom. In other words, he sends messages to the Greeks to the gods. Zeus battled his brother Poseidon in the Trojan War. He wasn't there physically, but was increasing the Greeks' morale and intuition of victory. Poseidon, on the other hand, brought destruction and death to the Greeks upon their trip back home after the war was ended, sending down monstrous waves to their fleet, sinking their ships and drowning many of their men. Let us not forget that if Zeus was not prayed and sacrificed, he would send down mighty thunderstorms ruining the Greeks' vegetation and homes as consequences and a message from the gods. The role of Zeus in the Odyssey. Zeus plays a major role in the Odyssey, even though he is considered as one of the passive gods. As Athena begs Father Zeus for the release of Odysseus from the island, he sends a message to Calypso ordering him to release Odysseus. Zeus also uses his two eagles as scouts known to keep up to date with the Greeks. Despite his short serving in the novel, the upcoming events would have not taken place if he was not to release Odysseus from captivity. Second, the goddess Athena. Athena, the formerly mentioned daughter of Zeus and the goddess of wisdom and warcraft, spangled out of Zeus's forehead with a mighty cry, fully grown and armored. The name Athene was debated on whether it originated from the city Athens or vice versa. Athena surpassed all the gods in her domain, causing even Ares, the god of war, courage, and sheer violence to fear her, which was the reason behind Greek heroes asking for her assistance, persuasion, and guidance. Even as a war goddess, she was the main helper of Homer's Greece. Mainly, she guided both Odysseus and Telemachus throughout their journeys. She aided Odysseus upon his return to defeat the suitors and regained Telemachus' hopes after the absence of his father for 9 years. Athena's interaction with humans and those of her own kind. Most of the Greek gods don't usually interact with humans in their godly form, and that's because of their disguise as mortals. The goddess of wisdom and war, Athena, was disguised as a human to distract the Greeks' daily routines and drag them away from the battle between Achilles and Agamemnon. Whereas in the Odyssey, Athena always shows up in mortal form to aid Odysseus and reassure Telemachus, but never sticks around for long. He is always watching them as she drifts upon the airy mists, contemplating their actions. Athena's role in the Odyssey. Athena plays the main goddess character in the novel as she is alongside of Odysseus throughout his expedition of returning home. She favors those of strength and intellectuality, which is the reason behind her aid to Odysseus. Initially, Athena persuades and encourages Telemachus, son of Odysseus, to not lose hope in his father and to continue searching for him. Athena also guides Telemachus to a nearby city where he could find information about his father. She also begs Zeus to release Odysseus from the island where he was held captive by the goddess Calypso. Lastly, Athena assists Odysseus in killing the suitors by enhancing his physical strength, changing him into a young and energetic, powerful figure. The deity Poseidon. Interesting, is it not? The violent god of sea, the provoker of earthquakes, worshipped as the creator of the horse. The name Poseidon stands for the meaning either husband or earth. He was the youngest of his siblings and the son of Cronus and Rhea, brother of Zeus and Hades. When he alongside his two brothers exterminated their father, the kingdom of sea and earth fell into his possession. His main weapon, the trident, similar to Zeus's thunderbolt and Hades' helmet, was a symbol of his powers. Poseidon was worshipped as a stabilizer, a god who prevented violence and earthquakes. He also gave birth to horses, one of which was his infamous winged Pegasus, quote, a winged horse that sprang from the blood of Gorgon Medusa, and as she was beheaded by the hero Perseus, unquote. Poseidon's interaction with humans and those of his own kind. Initially, the deity Poseidon would hold rage and violence upon his people if they don't look at him as a mighty figure in control of determining their own life. He would inflict fear and punishment upon those who disobey his orders. In order to please Poseidon, Greeks would sacrifice horses by drowning them. Poseidon and Athena both had a contest for whom would hold the people of Athens and Ithaca's greatest possession, so they both sent down gifts. Poseidon sent down salted springs, which the Greeks spitted out, whereas Athena brought them olives, which they seemed to enjoy. Later on, Poseidon became raged and flooded the docks and farming plains. Also during the Trojan War, Poseidon assisted the Trojans in constructing the walls of Troy. The Greeks refused payments and sacrifices towards Poseidon, so he turned against them and battled them when the war was over, and the Greeks were returning home. He sent monstrous clouds and waves to wreck their ships, which came at the cost of many men. Poseidon, a violent and aggressive god, also takes part in contributing to the main events in the Odyssey. Initially, Poseidon is introduced to the story as whom sabotages. Poseidon is conveyed to be against Odysseus and seeks his death by tormenting him. That is because Odysseus has blinded his son, the Cyclops, Polyphemus. Poseidon's wrath is unveiled when he strikes Odysseus' raft, with waves crashing into him, demolishing his ticket back home. Lastly, the hero Odysseus. You've been waiting for this one, haven't you? Odysseus, the son of Laertes and Anticlea, is an epic hero in Greek mythology, king and protector of home Ithaca, and the main protagonist of Homer's Odyssey. He is well known for cunning intelligence, fluent speaking, and strength. Before the Trojan War, Odysseus himself was one of the suitors who wanted to marry Helen. Though after the passing of time, a husband could not be decided, so they agreed on drawing straws. Unfortunately, Odysseus lost and decided to marry Penelope. Later on, Helen's stepdaughter of King Tyndareus, king of Sparta, was abducted by the Trojans, which caused the summoning of the suitors in a quest to retrieve her. Odysseus originally objected to joining this quest because an oracle had informed him about the dangers to come, that, quote, it would take him a long time to return home, unquote. Eventually, he was coerced into acquiescence by Palamedes, and for that he always had a grudge against him. During the Trojan War, Odysseus played the main role in strategizing and advising his comrades. He was also the primary morale powerhouse throughout the battle, which sustained the Greeks' position and prevented Agamemnon's retreat. He was also one of the main contributors to the creation of the Trojan horse. After 10 years of the Trojan War, it took him another 10 years of wandering across the seas to reach his home Ithaca. These 10-year adventures were those who created and gave life to the Odyssey that we all know today.